Hi everyone, this is Crochet from Mindfulknits, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful minimal doily from our Hello Doily crochet pattern. If you are watching this, most likely it's because you have our Hello Doily beginner crochet kit. We had this limited edition run of this crochet kit for Mother's Day. Very quickly I'll show you what are the contents of this kit. But even if you don't have this kit, really all you need is some cotton yarn, medium worsted weight, and a 5mm crochet hook. But if you have the kit, this is what you'll get in the kit. You'll get 100-gram ball of 100% Mindfulknits cotton yarn in the color Zion, which is this beautiful purplish pink lilac color. You'll get a 5mm limited edition custom crochet hook. With one of 3 phrases: you are a garden of grace, you are timeless, or love blooms because of you. You will get a little pink envelope with a Mindfulknits sticker, a yarn needle for sewing in your loose ends, and most likely you've seen this because this is the little instruction card in order to access this tutorial that you're watching right now. So this is the card, and this is the doily that we will be making. If you are a beginner, I'm gonna try to go slow for you, but you can also re-watch parts as much as you need in order to get each step, and you might have to unravel and redo steps again if you want to, just try to practice that and get used to the hand movements and holding your yarn. Don't worry, your first project can always be a little bit more time consuming because you're learning to crochet, so give yourself that patience and that grace so that you can learn this really fantastic and fun hobby. Let's get started. Grab your yarn, remove the label, and you can find the end of the yarn usually stuffed in the center of the yarn ball. So go ahead and pull it out and find the end of your yarn so that we can begin our first step of the project. And the first step we're going to do is create a slip knot. So a slip knot is basically the first kind of circle stitch, you could say, that goes on our crochet hook. And one thing I'm going to explain before we get too deep into this is how I like to hold my hook and how I like to hold my project. So I usually like to hold my hook like this. So you're not like all the way up here, you're kind of gripping so we have like a nice little ergonomic grip, but you have your hook held and your forefinger kind of at the top, more toward the top of the hook to kind of guide the hook to where it needs to go. You can't crochet like this and you can't crochet like this. You really want to hold it kind of like how you hold a pencil. You have you're kind of guiding with that forefinger in the same way you're kind of crocheting and guiding with your pointer finger. Okay, so now we're going to create our slip knot. So the way to create the slip knot is maybe leave like a 5 to 10 inch tail. Oh, okay. And you're going to loop your yarn like this. Okay, so it's like that, and then you push the yarn in the back and pull it, and you'll create this little knot and the circle, the little loop. And it's a good slip knot if you can easily unravel it. Okay, if it's hard to unravel or if it sticks, then it's not a slip knot. You need to redo it. So let's do that again. We'll do a loop. So push the yarn through the back, pull, and then you just want to adjust ever so slightly so that you have maybe a loop that you can put your yarn through like that. Okay, and then again adjust it. Not too tight, we want a little bit of give so it moves kind of freely on the hook. All right, so now let's get to our next step, which is going to be creating a chain. A chain is also a very fundamental step in crochet. It's kind of what creates the beginning of any project. And so the way that we create our chain is so this is the part where we talk about how we hold our project. So like I said, I'm really holding most of my fingers down on the handle, and then I kind of anchored my slip knot with my forefinger. I then use my other pointer finger as kind of the way to anchor or hang my yarn. okay? Because as we're working, our yarn is going to be pulling from the yarn ball, but we want to make sure we have like a controlled amount that we're dealing with in our hand. If we go, you know, if we can't just like work with it loosely, and you know, you don't want to have too much slack because that's not going to work. So what your forefinger does is it anchors that yarn nicely so that we can work with it well. And then what the rest of your fingers are doing are holding your project. So as you're working on your crochet project, stuff is going to be made, right? And there's going to be a project that's being created. So what you want to do is with your other fingers, you want to hold on to your project. So we have our forefinger that's kind of, our yarn is hanging off of that and creating some nice tension so that we can work with that yarn. And then we have the rest of our fingers kind of holding our project so that we have a nice tension and everything's not floppy. You know, you don't want to work with floppy yarn and project because everything just turns out really loose. If you get frustrated, you can't hold on to things unravel. So this is something that you're gonna have to get used to. It takes some getting used to. It takes some practice and some projects, honestly, before you feel extremely comfortable with this. So don't worry, no matter what, in your first project, you're always gonna have some level of getting used to things. So again, give yourself that grace, have some patience. You'll get it. And you know, worst case scenario, I will say that one yarn ball can actually make at least 4 doilies. So if you don't like your first one, you can make another one, and I'm sure they'll get successively very excellent, although I'm sure your first one will be pretty good as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our first chain. So I'm holding my yarn, I've got my project kind of anchored with my other fingers. And the way we create a chain, okay, is I'm gonna guide my crochet hook to pull the yarn. Okay, pull this yarn that's hanging off my other finger and pull it through that first slip knot. So that's a chain 1. We've done our first chain. And what this is going to create is, as we keep doing that, it's going to create a nice little chain. It's going to literally look like a chain of stitches. Okay, so now let's do it again. So I'm going to pull the yarn, and you don't want to pull things too tight because it's going to be, that's why we like to keep a little bit of slack, a little bit of looseness. So once you've pulled that first yarn in, make sure you have some space to jiggle around. Okay, and then we're going to pull again, chain 2, pull again, chain 3, pull again, chain 4, pull again, chain 5, pull again, chain 6. Okay, so we got chain 6. Now we have this nice little chain, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something called a slip knot. A slip knot is how we glue our project. It's kind of like a glue in crochet. And you'll see what I mean the more we do slip knots. We're going to do a slip knot quite often in this project. And slip knots is also just like a very common crocheting stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our very first, and notice where I'm holding the yarn. Always try to copy where I'm holding it because that's going to be easier than you trying to figure out where you need to hold it. So feel free to copy exactly where I'm holding my project. So you're always going to have your first finger anchoring your yarn, and your other fingers kind of holding onto your project and the yarn that's underneath it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hook through my very first, that slip stitch that we made. Okay, I'm going to push it through, and I'm going to pull yarn through that stitch and then through the stitch that's on my hook. Okay? Rewind that back if you didn't catch that, but basically I just pushed the yarn through the first stitch on my hook, which was our slip stitch, our slip knot, and then I pulled yarn through that stitch and then the yarn on my hook, and basically what that did is it glued my chain ends together, and now I have a little circle. Okay, so congrats, you actually did something pretty cool here. You made like a foundational circle for our doily. And so let's go back to our original doily, okay? So now you can see kind of what we just achieved. We made the circle. Now in the second round, what we're going to do is we're going to create 6 petals that we're gonna crochet into that circle using another very fundamental crochet stitch called the double crochet. Okay, you'll see what that is in a second. But basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna create 6 petals. Each petal is composed of 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and then we're gonna do a little chain. Remember we did 6 chains here, so we're gonna do chain 2s and then another 3 double crochets, then chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So that's what we're going to do in this next row. And I'm going to try to do this where I'm going to kind of give you a preview of what we're going to do before we do it. I think that always helps. So let's go ahead and start our second round of our 6 petals, our 6 double crochet petals. Okay, so now it's really important that you make sure that our tail, remember our tail, it's out of the way, because we don't want to accidentally crochet with that. We want to make sure we're crocheting to the yarn that's connected to our yarn ball. Okay, that's called our working yarn, if you remember. And how we're going to start this round, and how we're going to start every round is through some chaining, because what we need is we need to achieve the height of that first petal and then continue on from there. So in order to do that, we're going to chain. So again, I'm anchoring my yarn, I'm holding the project so that everything's not wobbly and flapping all over the place. And I'm going to chain 3 stitches, okay? We're going to chain 1, 2, 3. Remember, chaining is just pulling yarn into the stitch that's on your hook. We've chained 3 stitches, and that's going to act as our first double crochet. Remember, there's 3 double crochets in each petal. So for our very first petal, the chain will be the very first double crochet. Now we have to do 2 more double crochets. And the way that a double crochet works is you're going to wrap yarn around your hook once. Then, while it's wrapped, you're going to put your hook into, I'm going to get my tail out of the way again. I'm going to hold on to my project with my fingers, and I have my yarn anchored in my forefinger again. I'm going to pull yarn through the middle of our circle, okay? And now you should have 1, 2, 3 kind of loops on your crochet hook. So what you're going to do now is you're going to pull yarn through the first 2, and then again you're going to pull yarn through the 2 that are left. So watch how this works first, and then try it on your own. So we're going to pull yarn through 2, 1, 2, pull yarn through 2 again, 1, 2. Okay? Let's try that again. So we're going to yarn over, that's what this is called. You wrap yarn around your hook, put your hook through the middle of the circle and pull yarn through that circle. Yarn through the first 2, yarn through the second 2. So now we have 1, 2, 3 petals, okay? Don't worry, if you did not get that, keep watching me do this entire thing and keep practicing. And here's the beauty of crochet. Actually, let me just do it right here. The beauty of crochet is you can unravel things and it won't mess up your entire project. You just have to unravel to the point where you don't feel good about your work and then redo it. So let's just do those first 2 double crochets again. So I'm anchoring my yarn, holding my project like this. I usually have the remainder of the yarn in my bottom 2 fingers, and then my thumb and my middle finger are kind of anchoring my project. And I'm going to yarn over, push my hook through the circle, pull yarn through the circle, through 2, through 2 again. And cotton yarn is fibrous, you know, it might be tough for you initially to kind of navigate your hook through these fibers without everything kind of getting snatched. That's okay. Again, it will come with practice, and hopefully the smooth finish of this crochet hook will help with that. If you're really struggling and you just can't get it, try to locate a metal hook, but usually that's not going to make so much of a difference. Mostly it's because you know, you're just getting used to navigating your hook. There's going to be some learning you know, shakiness with that. So we're going to do that again. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, now we finished 1 petal. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you'll see that now where I'm holding my project with my middle finger and my thumb is always approximately like 1 inch away from wherever my hook, you know, whatever stitches on my hook. That's a good place where you have some movement, you can move things around, but it's not floppy. Because look, if I hold it down here, things are flopping. If I hold it like about, you know, 1 inch away, you have a little bit more control. So now again, we're going to do 3 double crochets. So yarn over, hook in the middle, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, hook in the middle, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, hook in the middle, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay? If any of this is going too slow for you, just fast forward to the next round or to the end of the round. 1, 2. So I'll make one more petal and then just keep rewinding till you get it, and I'll meet you at the end of this round, but let's do three more double crochets. So yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over into the center, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, so we have our third petal. So now you need to make 3 more petals, okay? And once you get to the end of your 6th petal, that's where I'm gonna meet you so I can show you how to end the round and join it to the previous round. Hint, we're gonna be using a slip stitch, which, as we said, was like the glue of crochet. Hello, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals, each separated by 2 chains. And now what we're gonna do is at the very end, we're gonna do our same 2 chains, okay? So we always have that 2 chain space between each of our petals. But to end the row, or end the round, we're gonna find the end of this first chain 3, right? 1, 2, 3. We're gonna put our hook into the top of that chain 3. And don't overthink this. Don't overthink this. It's like, okay, there's so many places to put my hook. Where do I put my hook? See where this 1, 2, 3, count that right here. This is where you're gonna put your hook. Okay, you literally just have to insert your hook right through the middle there. Pull, pull. Okay, and that's how we connected it. Now we're gonna do our second round. So in our second round, if we go back to our completed one, we actually are gonna now upgrade. We're gonna graduate to a triple crochet. So it's just like a double crochet, except there's one more wraparound and one more extra pulling through loops, okay? And we're gonna do that into the spaces of our first flower. So it creates kind of like this shifted petal. And that's gonna be the beginning of our big petals. And so we're gonna do 4 triple crochets into each chain 2 space. And this is how it's gonna go. Now, before to start this, we actually have to migrate over, because where we are in our project right now is at the very first flower. We're on the very first flower petal, and we actually want to migrate to this space right here. So how we do that is through a series of slip stitches. So it's also these slip stitches are kind of a glue that is going to help us migrate over to that chain space. So what you're going to do is you have 1, 2, 3 stitches. We want to slip stitch into each of those stitches. So 1, 2, pull the yarn through both stitches. Pull the yarn through both stitches. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to do 4 triple crochets into this first space. And so the way that that's going to work is, first, just like this first flower that we did, we have to do a chain 4 to get that first petal piece, to get that height. Okay, so we're going to do 4 chains. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we're going to do a triple crochet. So in order to do a triple crochet, we're going to wrap the yarn twice around our hook. So if the first, for a double crochet, is 1 yarn over, for a triple crochet it's 2 yarn overs. Then we're going to push the hook through our open chain 2 space. We're going to pull yarn through. Okay, this is where you want to make sure you got your holding stuff down right, because we have a lot of stuff going on our hook. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull yarn through these first 2, then the second 2, then the last 2. So we're pulling yarn through 3 times. Pull yarn through once, pull yarn through twice, pull yarn through 3 times. So now we have this nice tall piece of petal. So we need to do this 2 more times for our first petal. So yarn over twice, push hook through, pull through twice, pull through 2, sorry, pull through 2. 1, 2, 3. Now let's do that again. Yarn over twice, put your hook through the chain 2 space, pull yarn through, pull through 2, 1, pull through 2, 2, pull through 2, 3. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our first petal, yay. Now we're gonna chain 3, okay, because we have a little bit more space that we need to cover between the petals. So we're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, we're gonna do 4 triple crochets. So we're gonna yarn over twice, put our hook through the chain 2 space, pull through 2 once, pull through 2 twice, pull through 2 3 times. Again, yarn over twice, hook through space, pull through 2 once, pull through 2 twice, pull through 2 3 times. It's like a tongue twister. Again, yarn over twice, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over twice, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it goes by pretty fast. Once you get the hang of the stitch, that whole petal making process is so repetitive, it goes by very fast. Then we're going to chain 3 again for our next petal. So we're going to go ahead and meet back once we do 1, 2, 3, 4 more petals, and I'll meet you at the end of that petal to do the joining and starting the new round. All right, so now we are back and we just finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals with 4 triple crochets each, minus the first petal, which we started with a chain 4. And now we're going to do our last chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to find the 4th stitch, the top of our chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put our hook right through the center there. Don't overthink it, and I say that because I always overthink it. And do a slip stitch to kind of combine that, and boom, we have our nice little second round finished. So the way that the second round is going to work is we're going to do 2 triple crochets. So we're going to do an increase, then 1 triple crochet, 1 triple crochet, and then 2 triple crochets in 1. That's called an increase. Okay, so what that does is that increases and makes it round, right? Each concentric circle becomes bigger than the last by doing a little bit more in each one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. We're going to do 2 in space 1, 1, 1, 2, and then again we're going to do 1, 2, 3 chains, and then 2, 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Like I said, very repetitive, and that's what makes crochet and knitting so meditative, because once you get that first part, once you learn the stitch, once you become comfortable with it, it's very repetitive and like you kind of gets you into a nice flow. Okay, so we're gonna start like with any new round with some chaining. So we're gonna do 4 chains, just like we did in the previous round. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're gonna do 4 double crochets. 1 triple crochet, then 1 triple crochet, 1 triple crochet, and then 2 triple crochets. 1, 2 yarn overs, put your hook through the space, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, then 1 into this next space, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, 1 into the space after that, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then 2 into the last space. So pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then we're going to do another one into that same space. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do this again. So we're going to do 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Or 2 triple crochets, 1 triple crochet, 1 triple crochet, 2 triple crochets. So yarn over twice, put your hook into that first space. 1. Got that wrong. There we go. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to do 1 into the next space. We're going to do 1 into the space after that. And then we're going to do 2 into that final space. If you are finding any part of this like very difficult, watch it maybe in like half speed. Just watch it again and again, and then practice it again and again, and unravel it before kind of continuing on. Because once you get, like I said, once you get comfortable with it, this becomes fun and easy. But if you're uncomfortable the whole way through, then this can be slightly traumatic. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so each of our petals is now six stitches in each petal. So go ahead and do 3, and then do the 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2 all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end of that last petal. All right, hello everyone. Okay, so we just finished our last petal, and we have chain 3'd. So we're gonna go to the top of our first chain 4 and just do our little glue, our slip stitch. So push your hook through and pull yarn through both that stitch and the stitch on your hook. Very normal for things to not work the first time. Okay, perfect. So now we have our next round, which is going to be our final kind of triple crochet round before we do our cute little scallops. But we're going to do, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. And what we're going to do in those spaces is do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's going to be our increases to make our petal go bigger in this 1, 2, 3, 4th round. Okay, so 4th round we're going to do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 into the first space, then 1, then 2 into the 3rd space, then 1 into the 4th space, and then 2 into the 5th space. Okay, let's do this. So the only one that's a little different, as always, is our first one. So we're going to do a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to act like our very first triple crochet. And then into this stitch, instead of doing 2, we're going to do 1, because this is going to count as our increase since we did a chain 4. So we're going to do 1 triple crochet, 1, 2, 3. Then in the next one, we're going to do 1 triple crochet, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 2 triple crochets, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do another triple crochet. Then we're going to do 1 in the next space. And then we're going to do 2 in the last space. Okay, and so what you'll end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like triple crochets or pieces of your petal in this round. Now we're going to chain 3 and do 1 more petal together. Okay, so for this petal we're going to do, there's the 5 spaces. So we're going to do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So we're going to do 2. See all my yarn. Then we're going to do another 2. Sorry, we're going to do another 1. And then, so that's our 2 in our first space, then we're going to do 1 in the next space. Then we're going to do 2 in the next space. Then we're going to do, sorry, let me finish that off. And then we're going to do 1 in the next space. And then we're going to do 2 in the last space. So we had 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. So chain 3 and do that same thing, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for each of these petals, and then I'll meet you back at that very last, the end of that last petal. We finished our petals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals, and now we're going to do our chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Find the top of your chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't overthink it. Push it through. Pull through both stitches, and yeah, there we go. We have our beautiful flower. I hope you're proud of yourself. This is like pretty great. If this is your first project and it resembles a flower, honestly, you should be really, really proud of yourself. Our last round, we're already at our last round, is just gonna be these cute little scallops to make it look like a daisy. They look cute, perhaps complicated, and you will see now after learning all these stitches, these will be so easy and satisfying to do because they're actually very, very simple. So how it works, actually, let me explain it really quick. So the way that this is gonna work is at the beginning, we're gonna start at the beginning of each petal, and we're gonna do 5 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces, okay? Because we have 8 triple crochets. So in the second space, we're gonna do 5 double crochets, and then we're gonna do a slip stitch in the 4th space. Then we're gonna do 5 more double crochets in the 6th space. And then right after the petal that will inside that chain, we're gonna do a slip stitch. And what that creates is this cute little scallop. You'll see that sounds kind of perhaps like, what did I just listen to? But it's very easy to follow. So let me show you. So let's start with our first one. So we have our second space is right here, right? We have 1, 2, our second space is right here. So into this space, I'm gonna do double crochets, not triple crochets, double crochets. So that's 1 yarn over, and into that space, we do 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we did 5 double crochets. Now into our 4th space, which is right here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Our 4th space, we're gonna do a slip stitch. So we just pull that right on through, very simple. It's like our little glue stitch, right? And look, that made a scallop. What that does is that creates like 5, basically like a petal, right? But you're closing the petal at each end, so it creates this nice little scallop. So we're gonna do that again. So 2 stitches away, so on the 6th space, we're gonna do 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to do in this right here. So this is where it gets teeny weeny bit tricky, and you could just do it right on the top here, is do a slip stitch. So push your hook through the top. So not this last space, but the chain right after that. Do a slip stitch right there. That creates your little boom boom, your 2 little scallops. That's pretty easy, right? And it's so satisfying because it's just so cute. Now, this is the interesting part. We want to migrate over to our next petal, and we have to migrate across this chain. So again, I'm going to do little slip stitches to migrate across. So we're going to push our yarn through, push our hook through, slip, pull through both, do our little slip. Okay, now we're at our next petals. So now we're going to put 5 double crochets in the second space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 spaces away, so 1, 2. In our 4th space, we're gonna do a slip. That makes our little scallop. And then again, in the 6th space, so 2 spaces away from this one, boom, boom, we're gonna do our another 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to, in this, not this 7th space, but in the chain, we're gonna push our hook through and do a slip stitch. Okay. So that we have our two little petals. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. So we want to continue that. So you're gonna do the little chain slip, 2 slip stitches, then you're gonna do 5 double crochets into this, slip into your 4th space, 5 double crochets into your 6th space, slip into that first chain, slip, slip, 5 double crochets, slip, 5 double crochets, slip, 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 and all the way around. Okay, and I'll meet you at the very end. You're almost done. You're basically done. Just have to finish these scallops. Right, so we finished our very last scallop on our last petal, and we basically have completed our doily. So now, before we really finish it, just grab 2 items additional. So you need your yarn needle from your kit, which you should have received. It should have been the pink envelope, and of course if you didn't, if you're not using the kit, then just find a yarn needle, hopefully you have one, and some scissors. And what you're gonna do is, so to kind of finish off the project, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do those slip stitches to kind of migrate to the end of our project here. So we're gonna slip, slip, and now we're at the very end of our project. Okay, so now what you want to do is maybe cut maybe like a 10 or 5 to 10 inch tail of your working yarn, and you're gonna pull that yarn through your stitch that's on your hook. Just pull it to tighten it. That creates a little knot. Okay, so that's the end of that. Now what we have if you flip your project over, is you have these 2 tails. You have these 2 tails that we want to weave in. Weaving in our ends is basically how you finish up your project and get all those pesky tails all out of the way, snipped off, and so that you have a beautiful completed project. So let's first do this end that's our, that we started our project with in the center. And the cool thing about a project that's just like one side, right? This is the side that's showing. So on the back, you can kind of do whatever because you're not going to see how you've weaved it in. So there's really, like, I like to say there's really no wrong or right way to do this, but what I like to do in the center is just take our yarn and kind of weave it through the back of this circle. I weave it through kind of one direction, and then I kind of make this little knot by weaving it through the other direction and pulling my yarn through the little circle that I made. Like I said, there's really basically no wrong way to do that. But basically you've just secured your yarn so well that even if you were to machine wash this or something, or just like hand wash it and dry it, that little strand isn't coming out. I would even snip it a little closer so there's no way that can be seen when you flip that over. Okay, now we're gonna do the second one, the one that we just finished our project with. So I'm going to take this, weave it through my yarn needle, and I'm just going to kind of work this way and put it through this little scallop. So I'm going to work my yarn through the back of this project. Make sure that whatever you're doing isn't going through to the front. So just work it in the back of these stitches and migrate kind of all the way toward the scallop, and then pull your yarn through half the scallop. And then again, I'm going to do my little circle trick where I pull my yarn through that, make a little knot situation, and then snip it pretty close to the end. There you have it. That is your scallop doily. Isn't it nice? If you're like, hey, I wish like everything was just like super lined up and perfect, you can block this. So I'll try to make a tutorial on how to do blocking, but basically you just kind of soak it in warm soapy water and then pin it to some foam board in the shape that you want it to be. But basically it looks basically perfectly like a circle and a nice little daisy. And now I can put a little flower vase on it or put my yarn bowl on it. It looks really cute. So yeah, and we only use that much of our yarn ball. So like I said, you can at least make 4 of this same doily with 1 yarn ball. Or if you want to make something else, we have a bunch of washcloth, crochet washcloth tutorials on our YouTube channel. You should be able to make 1 or 2 of those with this quantity of yarn. And we're hoping to put out more tutorials soon. So check our YouTube for other tutorials, but congratulations. And if you received this kit for Mother's Day, then happy Mother's Day. You are a garden of grace. Take care and happy mindful knitting. Bye.